Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman.
Hey everybody, another episode of Hobby Quick Hits coming your way. This is one of those, we've done these before. We used to call them hobby histories and take a person from the hobby no longer with us and kind of deep dive their career and their accolades. And, I did it because we got a lot of new people in the hobby, may not know about the history of the hobby, and maybe in some cases don't care about the history of the hobby, but in some cases they do. And I wanted to give some people no longer with us, like I said, credit for their place in the hobby. But really, when doing a biography, right, talk about everything, not all just good stuff, right? If something bad happened to, give the whole sort of background. So we're not going to do these all the time, maybe every couple months. I think we've done Alan Rosen, we've done Bowman. And today's subject is a little more modern, even though, Mr. Rosen was modern too, but he kind of covered decades. The gentleman we're covering today is Lud Denny Jr., also known as Lud Denny, founder of Pro Set, initially football, but they branched into other things. I also want to give a shout out to a listener who, like I said, we used to call these hobby histories, and a listener, Mike Lack, messaged me, said he appreciated the shows, but why not call them legends of the hobby, call these kind of shows legends of the hobby. So based on Mike's advice, I know he said you've used that term, John. I'm just repurposing your line, but it was him reaching out to me that's gotten me to change the title of these episodes when we do them to Legends of the Hobby. So this, I believe, is the third Legends of the Hobby, if you will. It's Lud Denny Jr. from Pro Set fame. We're going to start the show, but we're going to hear from our great sponsor first, and then we'll get the show underway.
MojoBrakeShop.com is the best place to get your sealed wax products and brakes. They not only have the best selection, but the best prices. Whether it's a box or a whole case, they are your guys. They ship worldwide to your doorstep. Their reputation as one of the most trusted in the hobby goes unmatched. They are the 2021 Topps Rip Party Champion Breakers. From sports card to Pokemon cards, their selection can't be beat. They offer daily deals and pre-orders.
Hey guys, John Newman here. Mojo's prices are already great, but to save an additional 10% off anything in their store, use the code QUICKHITS. That's QUICK HITS. Check out the full service store that's open 7 days a week in Santa Clara, California, or the website at mojobreak.com.
Let's check out this week's hobby wax releases. Take it away, Owen.
Hey guys, I'm from the Sports Card Shop. Let's go over the weekly releases. On the 15th, we have Donruss Football, Panini Immaculate, Panini Mosaic, Basketball Fast Break, Top Series 1 Baseball Hobby, and Jumbo. On the 17th, we have Donruss Basketball, Prism Collegiate Draft Picks Basketball. On the 22nd, we have Bowman Chrome University Football, Leaf in the Game, ITG Game Use Sports, Panini Immaculate WWE, Phoenix Football Prism Premier League Soccer, Rookie and Stars Football. On the 22nd, also, we have Super Fast Break Football Edition, Panini Resolution Soccer. On the 24th, we have Leaf Signature Series Basketball, Panini Elite Extra Edition Baseball, and last but not least, Panini Prism Collegiate Draft Picks basketball choice. Have a great time.
Let's go round the hobbyverse and catch up on this week's hobby news.
All right, appears the Panini Babe Ruth cut auto dilemma is over. The card that came out with a George Brett auto instead of a Babe Ruth auto, Panini has finally chimed in. They have received the card and are putting in a Babe Ruth cut auto. They even went as far as to show a picture of where they cut the Babe Ruth auto out from, and just below it was a Lou Gehrig auto. So look for a Lou Gehrig auto cut, I'm sure, sometime in the Panini future. So good to see that saga sort of put to rest, but it doesn't change that it did occur, and someone erred with the Brett inside the Ruth card, but Panini is making it right. Morphy's Auctions just sold a brick together 8 packs of the 1952 famous baseball Topps packs. Many times we see that at the National. That 8-pack brick sold for $873,000, which includes a 23% buyer's premium. No details on the buyer or what the plans for the 8 packs are, just that it brought in $873,000. What's back? The McDonald's All-American cards. Topps is doing them again. March 1st, Topps Chrome McDonald's All-Americans. Going to be in pack form. 20 packs to a box, 4 packs or 4 cards to a pack, 12 boxes to a case, 2 autos per box, and this will be, again, on March 1st. It will be a 100-card set. Obviously, there will be parallels and inserts, and 2 autos guaranteed per box. So they're back. Right, you heard some highlights from Joe Montana's legendary Hall of Fame career, arguably still the greatest quarterback to ever do it. He is putting some of his personal collections into Golden's auction, including his gold jacket for the Hall of Fame, some Notre Dame items, and many NFL awards and trinkets. And whenever I see this, I always wonder if, is it financial? Is he? I wouldn't think Joe Montana needed the money. He's 66 years old, so is he? Maybe his family or kids not necessarily are not interested in keeping those, which also find hard to believe. So I always wonder when you see a player who's still around start to sell off their personal collection of accolades, what's going on. So, obviously I don't know, but it just strikes me that way. So if you want to own a part of Joe Montana or his award or his gold Hall of Fame jacket, Golden's is where you want to head. All right, our great sponsors over at REA, Robert Edward Auctions. Their February Encore auction is ongoing. Starts February 9th, ends February 19th. 2,500 items, highlighted by 400 different or separate T206 cards. A Wilt Chamberlain 61 rookie, PSA 7, 53 Topps Mantle, SGC 6. Clemente rookie, 1955 Topps, PSA 6. Bob Gibson, 1959 Topps rookie, SGC 92. A 39 play ball, Joe DiMaggio, PSA 5. A factory sealed, brand new, 1993 SP Upper Deck box. Some guy named Derek Jeter's foil rookies in that, maybe. Fives, different, 1903 E107 Breech Williams group of 5 cards, and much more. Mahomes auto numbered to 5, and like I said, 2,500 cards, and that runs to February 19th. Their January auction was a huge success, and this is coming off the heels of that. So looks to be big. Get over to REA and get bidding.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, let's get into our subject. Mr. Lud Denny Jr., son of a minister, born in 1943, just before Christmas in Englewood, New Jersey, but came to call Texas home. Some things he did before he launched ProSet. He was a Braniff pilot from 1973 to 1981, an avid pilot. And from 1978 to 85, he sort of made his fortune as an oil wildcatter. He was also the creator of the 1986 game Armchair Quarterback and got licensing to do NFL sunscreens. The things you put on your windshield of your car on hot days to keep the inside cool. He did NFL ones of those. And I believe it was those 2 football-related items that sort of got him noticed by the NFL. And if you know anything about the hobby, around 1988, football cards were really only 5% of the hobby market. They were sort of boring. I don't want to say forgotten, but kind of forgotten. They were like, the stepbrother of baseball and even other sports. And so, Lud Denny, I think, reached out to the powers that be in the NFL and talked about, producing cards that were more exciting, that would bring more attention to football cards and do it in a different sort of way than, what Topps was doing at the time. And, in defense of Topps a little bit, baseball was their bread and butter, and football was just a license they had to produce cards. But, ProSet and Lud Denny pitched, hey, we want to do things differently. We want to be more proactive, and was granted licensing and actually became the first company to get direct licensing, including access to the NFL's own photo archive. So there was more of a partnership between ProSet and the NFL than Topps and the NFL. And so ProSet was born. They started very small in a 1,500 square foot office to launch their company. And rumored Lud Denny told his landlord, quote, "I don't know if we're going to need it after the first month," as he was a little nervous with this new venture, whether they'd survive or not. And survive they did. They getting a little ahead of ourselves. They wound up eventually being in a 44,000 square foot location, having 225 employees at their peak, and eventually, as most know or remember, got into production of hockey cards, golf cards, racing, soccer, and even music and movie cards. Some of their cards were produced in Spanish and also King's English. One of the things ProSet wanted to do, like I said, was things differently. So they featured more color on their cards, more action shots, more in-action photos, players, draft picks. They did more draft picks before they actually played in the league. And they had, their card stock was also thicker with some, coating on it. And, wanted to make waves and wanted to announce their presence. And when they launched the company, it was 1989, and it was really a great year to do so because It was, as many know, it was Barry Sanders, Troy Aikman, and Deion Sanders' rookie year for cards. The other thing that ProSet did a little differently, which I'm surprised, even all these years later, these card producers don't do, but they own their own printing press and produce the cards themselves. And people, have confirmed that was the case. It allowed them to produce cards quicker, get it to market faster. 1989 became sort of when the modern football card market started. With ProSet's launch, other card companies started producing football cards as well. As we know, Topps was already in that market, but soon to follow was Score, which had started with 1988 with baseball, but now they would enter the football card arena. All World, Proline, Wild Card, Upper Deck, and Pacific soon followed. But ProSet was sort of leading the way during that time period. In 1991, the company made $125 million. In 1992, that number went up to $165 million. Their 1990 releases were full of errors, spelling, stat mistakes, and they were either criticized for lack of attention to detail, or for some collectors, it was a chase to get some of those error cards, or even the corrected versions, as they did in many cases issue corrected versions, and so that became sort of a chase. But many of their card producing counterparts pointed to it as a lack of caring, a lack of proofreading, and sloppiness. And with their hold in the football card market, and their maybe they did get a little complacent. I know, ultimately their downfall was overproduction. We know what that era wasn't just relegated to football, but ProSet was the football equivalent of, the junk wax era. But you can't deny what they brought to the table. They pushed other card companies. And, let's talk about some of the other products Lud Denny and ProSet produced after getting, licensing with the NFL. A year after launching their football in 1989 and 1990, they launched hockey and golf, which the golf was a 100-card complete factory set. First set they've ever introduced in factory form was that 1990 golf set. They went on to release 1991. We all remember it, right? Yo MTV Raps cards, including one of my favorite groups, the Beastie Boys, considered their rookie cards, and a lot of other musical acts in that release. NHRA Racing, some movie cards, including for Disney, Beauty and the Beast, Mermaid, and Dinosaurs. 1991 also saw the company go out and acquire the Parkhurst hockey name. Hadn't been produced in many, many years, and with them already doing hockey, they wanted to bring the Parkhurst brand back, so they launched that in the 1991-1992 hockey season. Cost them, some money to get that licensing. Also in 1991, they wanted to up their game and issue a football product with a high-end feel. And ProSet Platinum Football was born. I remember those days vividly. It was a thick cardstock, very high gloss, and sold very well. Only problem was they never stopped the presses, and you can find boxes of that now anywhere between $10 and $20. I can tell you in 1991, those were going for well more than $10. In 1992, they released the Guinness Book of World Record cards. That was a worldwide release, released in the United States, Canada, Australia, South Africa, and the UK, and was in different languages as well. Lud Denny was an opportunist, so, when the Desert Storm War broke out, he produced cards in 1991 as well, featuring, and prominent people from that campaign. Lud was a risk taker. He launched Proset Gazette, which was a free magazine. He tried to launch a show nationwide, but was local in Dallas, called Profiles, was going to be a collector-based TV show. Like I said, it did air in Dallas, but he wanted to go bigger with it. Proset got to be known for some really different things. They started producing coaching cards in their football sets. We all remember the Proset Santa cards, right? Couldn't chase to get one of those. And then the ultra rare Lombardi Trophy hologram card that to this day is still desired by collectors and hobbyists, and still holds a pretty good value, as it's very short printed. Some personal notes about Lud Denny. He's like I said, known as a risk taker, sort of a gambler, liked to have a lot of fun, live his life, sort of that pilot, fly by the seat of his pants. People who knew him would tell you, loved to put on parties, have open bar, enjoy himself. His wife Jan was the executive vice president of Proset for a time as well, and just was sort of a larger than life figure. Wanted to also add that he produced soccer cards in the UK, Germany, Spain, and France. And what a lot of people didn't know at the time, he was really efforting to try to land a Major League Baseball license. So, yeah, people probably didn't realize how close, they were to seeing Proset baseball. That obviously did not occur, so that didn't happen. But, with gambling, right, with risk-taking, sometimes you don't always win. And so he built up some debt. Proset lost some of its luster with the overproduction of it, and things started to go bad. It was then in 1992 that, Proset and Lud Denny owed money to, insisted that he be ousted from the company, which is what exactly happened. And that was really, the end of the hobby career for Lud Denny. At that point, Parkhurst Hockey was acquired by Upper Deck in 1992-93, and they started producing the Parkhurst line after acquiring it from Proset. Those that knew Lud Denny Jr. would tell you, like I said, he was a go-getter, wanted what he wanted, was willing to take risks, and sometimes those didn't always pay off. There's a couple Lud Denny cards in some of his product releases that are interesting to this day, and some people still look for them. And whether you liked them, disliked them, people sometimes blame them for the overproduction of the cards and the downfall of Proset, and that they didn't last a long time. They sort of rose to stardom and burned out and faded away rather quickly. Most people will tell you Lud Denny wasn't a bad guy, just, very outspoken, very outgoing, and wanted to make things happen. And frankly, he did, right? We still talk about Proset to this day, and in 2021, Leafs Brian Gray procured the name and bought the company, and now they produce Proset cards under the Leaf brand. All right, I think that's going to wrap up our Legends of the Hobby series this week, focusing on Lud Denny Jr. He did pass away at the age of 66 in 2010. He did some other business ventures post hobby career, including insurance salesman and some other titles that he held. So, but regardless, a very prominent figure especially in the football card market with the launch of ProSet in 1989. And like I said, the brand lives on today. I want to thank a couple people, in putting this episode together. Rich Klein wrote a great article back in the day about Lud that I referenced, and Dr. James Beckett did about 4 to 5 episodes of Sports Cards Insights. Those episodes are number 494, 494B, 680, and 685, and that's just a great show in general. Those are just pertaining to Lud Denny and or ProSet and the entities involved. Check those out if you want to learn even more. So thanks everybody for listening. We'll do these Legends of the Hobby probably every other month or around that. We have a list of folks to cover. If there's someone you would like us to cover that maybe not on the list, I haven't announced the list, but if there's someone you want to learn more about in Legends of the Hobby and history of the hobby, let me know. Reach out, give us some feedback, and we'll make sure we cover those deserving of an episode. Thanks.